وكذلك أوحينا إليك روحا من أمرنا ما كنت تدري ما الكتاب ولا الإيمان ولكن جعلناه نورا نهدي به من نشاء من عبادنا وإنك لتهدي إلى صراط مستقيم صراط الله الذي له ما في السماوات وما في الأرض ألا إلى الله تصير الأمور.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, and welcome to the program Muslims in America. The religion of Islam is the fastest growing religion in the world, and a majority of that growth is taking place right here in the United States of America. According to reliable estimates, there are more than 7 million Muslims in the United States of America. Muslims have become valuable and vital assets to the American society. So please join me as I travel around the United States of America and introduce you, my viewers, to a few of the many Muslims in America. Assalamu alaikum. I'm back here with my guest, and he is the former president of ISNA, and he's the vice president of the Fiqh Council of North America, Sheikh Imam Muhammad Noor. Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum assalam.
And thank you very much for spending some time with us. And alhamdulillah, I know you're well versed in many subjects that we can discuss, but as this is the Islamic Education Forum and you've been involved with ISNA and education, Islamic education in America for quite some time, I'd just like to start off by asking you a bit about the history of Islamic education in America and the establishment of Muslim schools here.
Thank you for having me, and say Jazakumullah khairan. And about the history of Islamic education in North America, and it started early with MSA. When our brothers,
the Muslim student associations in the universities.
Exactly.
Yes.
When they start that organization, then they feel that they need some kind of for the children who were at that time small children. And that's
now,
how
the people in the early MSAs, were they mostly indigenous Muslims, or they were Muslims that came from other countries?
mainly the MSA start with students who came from overseas.
Yes.
At the same time, we have the that time there is indigenous Muslims who have their masajid. Very few masajid those days. In the 60s, we had very few masajid. Only Nation Islam was the main Islam.
But in the 60s, where were you in America in the 60s?
I was not here.
You were not here.
I came in the 70s. So
70s,
that's why I said that our brother who were before us, may Allah bless them. Okay. So they find that they need a kind of place for the children, especially for communities who were there at that times. They were there. So they start with Sunday schools, and actually they put a curriculum for Sunday schools. That's in the 60s, MSA.
Yes.
What to teach, how to teach, to guide them. Then we have the centers start popping up, the Islamic centers, because those who are in MSA, they graduate, they get married, they have families now. So we have Islamic community centers. That's where they start Sunday schools in a formal way. So from 70s up when it came to 80s, we felt that we need full-time schools, because we feel that there are certain values that we need to inculcate in our young Muslim children. Certain values is not to segregate them from the society, but to give them some values and principles which will help them to be positive part of the society. So that's where in early 80s we start looking for schools. I remember we have MSA or ISNA's educational department, and we used to have an office in Chicago here, in Lawrence. So I started looking for a place that to have a school, and we find the schools have been empty school from the city, and make a bid to buy that school. But the alderman in the neighborhood and others said that, oh, this is not a good idea, they're going to change the demography and this and that thing, to block the deal. So Abdullah,
Was it the fact that it was going to be a school, or the fact that it was going to be a Islamic school?
Definitely Islamic school. If regular school, it was school.
Yeah, it was a school before.
But there's no students.
Right.
Most elderly.
No, I mean, but the people in the community, what were they concerned about?
They're concerned about that Muslim coming to their neighborhood
Okay.
and change the
And this was in the 70s or the 80s?
It was 82, 83, around that. Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. So Abdullah Idris started the first school in Canada. That's in 1983. They bought a building, and subhanallah, they started school there, and it was one of the most successful schools in North America. After that, from 80s, we have a few schools here and there. Now we have almost about 300 schools, not more than that.
Right.
Over 300 full-time schools. Every state you find that there's school or more than one schools. And it attracts many students. Still, the students who attend Islamic schools, less than maybe 1 or 2%, 3%
Right.
at
Of
most.
the Muslims.
Of the Muslims.
Yes.
Most of the Muslim children go to public schools because for the fun, because for the other reasons, which is so that's why the Sunday schools and full-time school, they should be there. Sunday school, it is supplementary schools. At least give the child some kind of values. It's not everything. In full-time schools, the child, yes, he learn math, science, English, others, beside Aqidah, language, Quran, and other subjects. And also he is in an environment where he pray and see other kids. So that is...
But let me ask you a question, because I think this is the 8th education
forum.
When you initiated this conference, what were your objectives? What were you trying to achieve by this conference? And where do you see yourself today as opposed to your vision when you started this conference?
When we started this conference, it was the schools are starting, and there's no link between them. So we started something called the Council of Islamic Schools, CISNA. Council of Islamic Schools in North America, wish to coordinate with the schools, number one, to exchange experience. So the forum was established that to bring those teachers, principals, and to give them guidelines to learn from other schools who have better experience, and to help new communities start schools. And I think we achieved these goals, and I can see there's a huge development. We started 8 years ago today.
Right, right. And when you see now the growth of Muslim schools, I mean, how do you see the growth since the time you started this conference? Maybe how many schools were there then, and how many schools are there today? And what does it look like, the future of establishing new Muslim schools?
Yeah, and when we started the forum, we have about, I can say, few schools. Today, we have over 300 full-time schools. And you can say 3, 4, 5 folds. The number. 1. 2, the quality. That what the presentation is so much difference. And today we have the Undersecretary of Education. She is talking to the teacher here. We have Professor Beth, which is a professor of education in Kansas University, and a main factor that which help us also to establish our accreditation, because now Islamic school we have an accreditation board, which work with Catholic schools and other religious schools. I did accreditation for my school in San Luis.
Yes.
So the committee who came were from principals of different schools, and Abdullah Idris from Kansas, myself from San Luis, and we came. So they accredit the school just like any other school, in community-wise, curriculum-wise, facilities-wise, every aspect. And they give them pass or fail or need development. And they have seen really that as Muslim community, our schools have really achieved a lot.
Sheikh Mohammed, let me ask you another question, because we're talking about school and we're talking about our youth. I mean, what things can schools do better, because our youth have taken identity, and either that is a Muslim identity or identity of the rap star or identity of the basketball player. I mean, what efforts do Muslim parents and even young Muslim people need to make to kind of inculcate our Muslim youth with Islamic identity?
You really raise a very important question, because the issue of identity is a real struggle for our kids, our youth, and even some grown-up people also, okay? Especially the youth. Why? Because here the young boy and girl who live in our society today, you see a lot of flashlight about sport people, rap people, others. Those are the role models. We want to change that, and we are doing that.
Right.
For a role model should be someone who have values, moral values, someone who I can be proud to be like him. That, I think, which is a big challenge to us. And we're working. When you see a young girl wearing hijab, to me, it is a tremendous pressure on that young girl to be different. Especially, most of our schools is up to 8th grade, then children have to go to public school. Okay? So we have put the foundation here. So when he or she go to the public schools, he have to face the other world, the real world there, which I think is very important for them. And what they have learned from those 8 years, it helped them. At least they have their values. I remember a young boy who went to middle school, and he was fasting. So the teacher didn't understand. He said, she gave him chocolate. He said, no, I'm not eating it. He said, why? He said, I'm fasting. He said, your mom not here? She said, he's looking for his mom. He said, yes. I'm not doing for my mom. He said, right. I'm doing for God. So the teacher was very impressed. And she came and to the boy's mom, said that, I really commend you that you have built good character in your child.
Right.
So that's the value that when our sons and daughters go to the public schools, they have these things, it makes a difference.
Well, let me ask you on the other side. In your school in St. Louis, do you have any non-Muslim students who attend the school?
One time, yes, we used to have. We have a Christian girl. She came to our school, and we asked the mother, why are you bringing the child here? This Muslim school. We're open to everyone. That's our policy. We're open to everyone.
Yes.
She said, guys, look, I have certain values, which I believe. Believing God, to me, is important. Okay? To be a safety of my child. Two is that the moral values. And I think this school can serve my child better than in those schools.
Right. And do you think it's important for the Muslim communities to make it known that the Muslim schools are open to everyone?
Absolutely. I think that's very important, because it helps two ways. First of all, we are not changing the face of that child. Still, should be a Christian, should be Jew, should be anyone she wants. But being the school, just like Catholic schools, she will learn our values. Okay? And I think these universal values, whether believe in God, whether to be honest, to have certain, what we call it, like abstain from any activities until they get married. Those principles are not there. Actually, on the other hand, and in public schools, they have this health education. And sometimes they bring things which is to us, it's not acceptable.
Right. But even health education in the public schools is usually something which is left to families before to teach their children. But I think this is linked also to the breakdown of the family and the family not being able to take care of the traditional things they used to take care of. But let me ask you, Sheikh, because you are in touch with the Muslims here in America. Just can you talk a bit about some of the, maybe some people, in overseas, they want to get from you an update about the condition and the situations of Muslims here in America. So can you briefly just tell us today, post 9/11 up to today, what is the situation of Muslims here in America?
First, there's very positive and good news. The good news is that as Muslim today, nationwide, were involved in different aspects, especially in the political arena. And I think this first time that they elect a congressman who's a Muslim in Minnesota. It is a message. It is news, not to us only.
But when he won the election, I mean, how did you feel when you heard that he was going to win the election?
Not only feel good, we feel that America is a place of opportunities. It is. And it is for you to work with the system, not against the system, to bring your message. Yani, the idea that...
But it's important to emphasize there's nothing in the value system of Islam which is really against the value system of America.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. And as to us, for them to run for Congress or Senate or any even local position, my intention is to serve the community. And community here, whether for health, education, safety, fighting drugs and other things, this is universal cause. So to me, as a Muslim or someone who's Jewish or Christian, or congressman or Senate, we have the same values. In that aspect. We want America to be a better place. Just like if I'm in Sudan or if I'm in Saudi Arabia or I'm in Egypt, I have to do the same thing for my community, the better my community. I think people have, as Muslims, American here, we have that opportunity, and we have to work with other people who share these values as. Definitely there's people who are against Islam, there's people who are attacking Islam, there's people who make Muslims look like they're terrorists, every Muslim is terrorist, every Islamic center and masjid is a sleeping cell. There's people saying that, and they're saying it day and night.
This is something which is really terrible, because actually I see that a lot of the television programs are trying to portray an image of American Muslims which actually doesn't exist. It's somebody's fantasy or idea about what could exist, but actually it just causes more misconceptions and misunderstandings.
And hatred. There's last year there's a woman who been killed in California, and someone shot her because she looked different. This is as the result of those TV programs which spread hatred and divide the community and build kind of fear in the heart of the common American people.
And on top of that, there's no balance. There's no positive program showing Muslims in a different light. It's always, well, majority of it showing Muslims in a negative light.
And that's why our involvement will change that. In education programs, in local communities, activities, that's where we can change that to a positive. Just to have here our Undersecretary of Education in our forum today to speaking to teachers, it is something positive that we should never think about it 20 years ago.
Right. But Imam Muhammad, let me ask you, in terms of the dawah and growth of Islam, how is that? What is the, I mean, is the dawah continuing, and are people continuing to come to Islam in spite of some of this negative propaganda we know exists about Islam and Muslims?
Actually, what I have seen in my masjid and other masajid, that there's more Americans coming to Islam than for 9/11.
But let me ask you, when you meet people who come to Islam, do any of them ever tell you why they became Muslims?
See,
okay, what are some of the answers that the people give you?
1 month after or 2 months after 9/11, a young girl in college, she came to me and said, I want to be Muslim. I said to her, Muslim running from Islam today, you're coming? I was joking. Why are you coming now? I'm scared of whatever happened. He said, no, I've been studying Islam for the last 2 years, and I believe in these values. It is the best thing for me. Just the other day, last week, a young girl also, 18 years old, she worked in this store. It's a Muslim store. And she said she became Muslim. She's just in high school. High school kids. So you see these things and say, look, there's a lot of people who are searching for the truth in America here.
Yes.
And our job is that just to present that truth to them through our action, more than our words.
Right.
When I see my neighbor who's need help, I just extend my hand to him or her, help him or her. Some elder people who is my neighbor, look up behind him, what you do, what we need. This message is more than 100 lectures. Because this person will tell others, I have Muslim neighbors. We have a neighbor in our neighborhood. She's a widow. the whole line now Muslims. And when we came, I was the only Muslim in that line now on the order. And she said, I would stay here. I like this neighborhood. It is safe for me. I'm happy here. Because someone said, are you going to sell your house? She said, no. I love my home. I love my neighborhood.
Right, and I think that people don't understand. Like I'm from New York, in New York City, the Muslims used to go into some bad neighborhoods and decide to live there. And when they came there, a lot of the drug dealers and the people who were bad influence, they left. And not because, I mean, in most cases, it wasn't because anybody threatened violence or anything, but it's just that they had a respect for the Muslims, that they didn't want to do that thing in the area where Muslims lived. And as a consequence of that, people who were not Muslims, they came to live in those areas because they felt safety and security. Yes. So these are some of the good examples of Islam and Muslims that unfortunately get overlooked in the media. But that's why we have a job as Muslims, using the media to try to propagate.
I appreciate your work.
Yes. Yes. Okay, and I thank you very much for spending some time with us. And inshallah, Allah will reward you and aid you in your work to help to support Islam here in America. Jazakallahu khairan.
Thanks, brother. Allah bless you, bless your heart.
Ameen. Allah yubarak fiik. Assalamu alaikum.
Alaikum.
I hope you have enjoyed meeting a few of the many Muslims here in the United States of America. The religion of Islam is the fastest growing religion in America, and I invite you, my viewers, to join me as I continue my journey around the USA to introduce you to the Muslims in America.